Hi, this is Toby, and today I'll be showing you the work I'll be doing on my Sequoia sempervirens bonsai forest from 2023-24 growing season, and this is going to be part 1 of the video. Now, I know last video I said I wasn't going to repot the trees for at least a season. I did buy a new pot. Let me just quickly show you. It's shallower, it's wider than this pot, and I want the trees to be able to get wider because they're very vigorous. And right now I'm really just limiting their growth if I'm keeping them in this pot, and I don't really just want to keep them as really thin triangles. I do want them to grow out a bit, so I will be repotting it today. You see the moss is growing really nicely, the sporophytes are coming through. Now, because this soil is not that old, I will be reusing some of the soil and adding some new soil to make up for the extra space, but I'm going to take the trees out of the pot. There should be 8 that's still alive, 1's died, and that was dead I think in the last video as well. So that one's going to be removed totally, and the other trees should be able to survive, and we're going to repot the trees. So I've prized everything apart. Let's get everything sorted. Let's add some soil at the bottom. Now this is a combination of old and new soil. I have added some orchid bark in there just to encourage some more mycorrhizal activity, because I find that the fungi like the orchid bark. And I have used it in some of my bonsai as well, and I find that it works quite well. So I know there's a bit of moss in there, but that's okay. So I've got a shallow layer of soil. Let's start with the largest tree. Let's see if I can get it out. This might be one of the last times I can actually work on the roots of these trees. So that's just something I have to be aware of, because I'm not going to be able to pull these apart in the future, because look at the roots on the tree. There's so many roots. I'm going to tease some of the soil, rake some of the soil away. All of this long root, let me get the right pair of scissors. All of these longer roots we are going to just cut back. This tree is quite vigorous, so I know it'll grow back. I think the surface roots look okay. I'm not hoping for anything spectacular with the surface roots. Again, this is a forest. I think this was the front. Actually, because this side is flatter, I will make this the front of the tree. Like that. That's going to be one of them. We will put the trees in at the end. Add a little amount of soil so the tree stands up. It will be slightly above the pot, that's okay. I will fill the place up with moss, and that will keep the tree in place. So now I need to find my second largest tree. It should be this one. It's also got a decent structure. I'm going to do the same with the roots. Let's see if I can try and not kill the worm. We still need the worm, so I'll put the worm in there. We're going to cut the roots. I'm going to do the same with all the trees, and we're going to come back. Okay, so I've pruned the roots. Let's start with the second largest tree. I think I place it a bit to the back. Or actually, I'll place it at the back. I'll add more depth to the planting. Add a bit of soil, and we're going to wedge it down like this. Hopefully that will stand. I hope you can see what I'm doing. Maybe I'll put the front towards the camera, like that. Again, hopefully this doesn't lean, and it should straighten up. I'll make sure they're all straight at the end. Now, I do have some really strangely shaped trees. Oh, that just tipped. Oh, just tipped over. Now that's sorted, let me get my little thin, scraggly trees out, because some of these trees are not the best shape. And hopefully, now that I've given this planting a bigger pot, these trees will have more space to grow, and these thin, scraggly trees will actually have enough space to actually grow out and look a lot better. The small one can go at the front. I'll add more depth to the planting. So, out of these two, this is actually looking pretty nice. I'll actually put it at the front. This tree is not looking the best. We can hide it at the back, and we'll hide this one at the back. So I think that's good for the positions. I will pot the trees up because they're falling over, and we'll take a look. So now that I put all the trees in, I'm going to check that they're straight. They're probably as straight as they could be. There we go. I'm going to water everything in just so the soil is kind of level, and we're going to moss the trees up. I've added a path here. Now, I did have a path in my old planting or in the pot before. It kind of just led out the back. I think it's going to be interesting if I make it lead out the side. I've saved all the moss from before, and we're going to just moss the place up. So anywhere where the path does not exist, I'm going to add the moss in. The moss is going to look a bit squished because I'm pressing it in, but I know it will get established over the next few days. It is quite a wet day today, so hopefully this will help the moss as well. So here is the forest. Let's take a look at it. I've got the path going around the tree, the main tree that goes out the side. The trees are mainly straight. I know some of them aren't really straight, but they'll straighten themselves up. And with this wider pot and more spacing with the trees, I can actually grow the trees taller and wider. So very exciting things for this planting. I want the back, or the trees at the back, to kind of catch up and get a bit taller. These two trees are quite tall, so I'll probably maintain it at a height that's slightly taller than this. I'll grow the main tree up as well, and when something grows, I'll show you an update. Here's an update of the Sequoia forest, and you can see so much new growth. It's not looking like a forest anymore. It's looking very strange because all the growth is on the top and the bottom is losing vigor. So we are going to correct that today. I'll show you how I'm going to do that. So all this new growth on the top, which is still quite soft, I can actually just pinch back to just a few leaves. Now, you never take all of the new growth off, or that's going to weaken the tree, but you can always pinch it back to just a few leaves or needles, whatever you want to call them, just a bit of foliage. Let's do that. Let's do that. And you want to pinch the top hard. And what I want to do is all this growth at the bottom we're going to leave, just so it balances out. So anything that's growing too vigorously we will pinch. Anything that's not having enough vigor you leave. And then all the energy will be redistributed and we'll have relatively even growth. In fact, yeah, we'll get rid of that. So that's what I'm going to do with the small trees. I'll do that and we'll tackle the main tree. So I've just pinched all the trees, and obviously I'm going to have to pinch them multiple times. I think I might even pinch this back a bit further. Over the growing season, if they have multiple flushes, I've left this small tree unpinched and this tree relatively unpinched as well, because these are small. I want them to get a bit bigger, especially this one, which is a bit weak, so I will let that go. Now you can see this big tree, I'm getting barely any growth at the bottom and all the vigors at the top, so we can correct that. First of all, I only want one leader, so we'll keep the straightest leader and we'll get rid of the one on the side. Again, we're going to pinch the top to make it super compact. Otherwise, this tree will just keep growing taller and we will not have a forest, and everything at the bottom is going to die. Yeah, I prefer to do this over cutting it with scissors because this is much quicker and you've got much more control. Even these smaller branches that are just starting to grow, we will pinch because I want the vigor going to the bottom. Yeah, I just noticed this branch going straight up, we will get rid of. And another thing is, if this grows over the top of the other trees, they will get shaded and they will progressively become weaker and weaker. So we don't want that to happen. Again, I'm just pinching these back hard. Always leaving just a bit of new growth. Go, pinching it back. So I will do that for this entire tree as well, and we'll show you what it looks like. One more thing I need to do is just clean up the top because it's getting very congested and that is not good. So I'm just going to clean that up, remove some of the congestion and some of the longer branches because we don't want stuff that's too long. I don't think I even need this branch. Stuff that's growing back in on itself as well. Again, I will have to start cleaning some of the bigger trees up to get those layers. Because I'm getting too many branches here. I think that's cleaning it up quite nicely. This is still too much. I'm gonna just pinch it back as much as I can. I think that's looking good. This is still a bit. I just realized some haven't pinched or pinched back enough. again, you want to keep the tops compact and let it grow slowly, otherwise you'll get very coarse growth and the bottom will die off. So that's what I'm pretty much doing today. And some of the shoots haven't grown in, and for the ones that haven't grown in, we'll come back and pinch later, but that's the forest looking alright. I'm hoping the bottom gets a bit more vigor, and I think I might actually just start raising the bottom a bit today because these branches are not looking that good down here. That's okay. I think that looks alright. But the forest is cleaned up and we'll let it grow.